Good evening, everyone. This is Councilmember Steve Rao, the town of Morrisville. I want to welcome you to our third virtual town hall meeting. The new normal has me shifting how I'm interacting and engaging with my constituents. And so today we're honored to have with us a close friend of mine and our state senator, Wiley Nichols, Senator Nichols, who represents all of Morrisville and also all of a lot of Cary and Raleigh, some of Raleigh. Senator, welcome to our program, our town hall meeting, and we want to welcome those who are attending. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve, great to see you. You look great there on Zoom with the headphones and the Morrisville backdrop. I love it.
Yeah, I'm wearing my headsets. I could take it off, and I like it. But yeah, I got the Morrisville backdrop, and feels like I do miss seeing City Hall, but I do miss seeing you.
I miss seeing you. I miss seeing people. I hope your family are doing well.
Yeah,
and for everybody listening.
Yeah, we hope everyone is safe. Yeah, we hope everyone is safe. Yeah.
Staying home, stay safe, wash your hands, use disinfectant, maintain social distancing. That's what's important right now.
Absolutely. So, folks, before we begin, this will be about a 30-minute town hall. We're going to get a quick briefing from Senator Nichols on the state response to COVID-19. The state Senate just voted on a package. We're going to get a little bit from that. I've got some questions prepared for him and make it an open conversation. And then if you have questions, to dial in your questions. This will be recorded on Radio Murchie, the Triangle Region's largest South Asian radio station. And it'll be airing at 4 o'clock on Sunday on 99.9 FM HD4, 101.9 FM Durham, at 1490 AM. And get this, it's also aired in Baltimore and Philadelphia. So, hey, there's probably someone in Baltimore or Philly that that might actually happen to me one time. Someone in Philly that I went to high school with heard me on the radio. So anyway, but here we go. So we're going to keep this really interactive. But Senator, we're going to focus this on COVID-19 coronavirus. So tell me a little bit about, before we get into the Senate relief, just what your thoughts are as a lawyer, a father, a husband, and a state senator. What's going through your mind as we've been living through this the last 5 weeks?
I mean, it's been tough. This is a tough time for everybody. People are hurting. I've just been really glad to be able to focus on specific things I can do to help throw jobless workers a lifeline. That's really been on a personal level great for me to have something I can do to help folks, and that's what we got to be doing as folks in office. We represent our constituents. We got to do everything we possibly can to help them get through this, and that's what we're here for. We're here for them. We're here to provide information and to help where we can, and that means, for me, last night, passing, over $1 billion worth of specific North Carolina, relief measures to help people, making changes in the law that will help people, and then, it means on the far end, having that constituent who is having problems with unemployment insurance, can't get through, and we're able to help them, with their specific issue on a, individual basis. So, that's the gamut, what we're doing. And it's going to take all of us working together to get through this. And, it's hard, but I know we will.
Okay, fantastic. So let's walk into the, let's talk first about the Senate relief package. Basically, this was a $1.4 billion package broken down in terms of helping education, public health. For those listening, it's to my knowledge that this was part of the federal money that our state received, and now the job of the General Assembly is working with our governor to come up with the relief package. So walk us through what you all voted on for tonight. What does it mean? And
yeah, so what it is, it's, we're a little bit still sort of in the sausage making process of the legislature. So the Senate passed a bill, the House passed a bill today. The House and Senate will meet to hammer out the differences, and then on Friday it looks like we'll be voting on what will be the final package that will go to the governor. And we expect that this will be something that has unanimous support among Democrats and Republicans, and the governor will sign some of the specific allocations, $50 million for PPE for North Carolina personal protective equipment, $300 million to local governments, so that there could be some money in there for Morrisville. $25 million to DHHS for testing and tracing efforts, $22 million for child nutrition, $61 million to support underserved communities, $125 million in small business loans administered by the Golden Leaf Foundation. Those are specific things, but then there's other more general things that just affect everybody. So, for that, we're talking about waiving interest payments on UNC student bills and personal and commercial income taxes, waiving end-of-year testing for students, extending the DMV deadlines for 6 months, and then the issue that I've been working on was unemployment insurance, changing the way we calculate it so that it's a little more helpful and gets people a little more money if you're in there in the system getting unemployment insurance. And the best thing, we need to go much further, but it is progress. We're able to raise the weekly maximum benefit from $350 a week to $400 a week for folks who qualify. So for some people, it'll mean another $50 a week, $200 a month. It adds up.
Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions about that. So what are some of the differences between the House is going to be meeting tomorrow? What are some of the main differences between what the House is proposing and the Senate's proposing? I know that some of it had been the amount of money given to the Golden Leaf Fund, right? And then there might have been some other. Do you know what those differences are?
There's a lot, and just because we know whatever they do isn't final, we haven't been tracking it as much. But it's stuff that involves public safety response, schools, funding for schools, funding for the courts. Those are the things that really, have funding issues, and local governments too. So the final number will include all of those, and it's still right as we speak being
and if all goes well, the governor will sign the bill, and then
that's right.
So now let's talk to unemployment. So staggering, and this is an area where you showed some leadership and you're very experienced at it. Unprecedented, 700,000 or more unemployed in North Carolina, probably over 25 to 26 million in the United States. I don't think there's ever been, recently we had a town hall meeting with Dr. Chatterjee, and he was reminding us that in our history, we've never seen a health disaster create such an economic disruption, and we don't know what kind of recovery we're looking at. So walk us through unemployment in North Carolina. How does it work? And they go and they file, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of claims, but how many weeks can I get from the state? What are they getting paid now? What would you do differently? I've heard you want to increase the amount. And how does the federal assistance kick in with I think it's called PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Insurance, and then PEA. There's all these different things with pandemic.
There's a lot. I mean, I think from the most basic level, unemployment insurance is one of the most important social safety nets we have when you have a recession or something, a global pandemic like this. This is how we keep jobless workers afloat. It's supposed to represent about 50% of their wages up to a certain level. The way it's designed, it doesn't quite get there. There is a lot we have to do for unemployment insurance. The Republicans who have been in control of the legislature totally gutted this system in 2013. We were about in the middle of the pack with states in terms of the generosity for those who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. They came in 2013 and just gutted the program. They made it hard to get benefits. They cut the benefits. They cut the duration of benefits. And so where we are right now is we are dead last. We are the worst state in the entire country for unemployment insurance. We pay the least amount of money for the shortest amount of time, and it's hard to get benefits. But the good news is that the federal government has stepped up in a major way, and they have put state unemployment insurance programs on steroids. So until from now, a little bit before today, mid-April through the end of, I believe it's end of June, or July 31st. I gotta double check that one. If Michael's on, he could. But we've got $600 a week from the federal governments on top of whatever the states do. So in North Carolina, the average weekly benefit is about $270 a week. Until July 31st, folks will get that $270 if they wherever they fall on the scale. They could get less than $270. They can get up to $350. They will get that plus another 600 a week. So that will make a difference. That will help people. That is all paid for by the federal government, and that money goes away on July 31st. Then
Okay.
what they'll do is at North Carolina, again, most states have 26 weeks of unemployment insurance. Right now, we only have 12 weeks.
Okay.
And the federal government will then go and pick up the rest of that time pretty much for the rest of the year. So because we have such a horrible program, we've sort of gamed the system in a way where the federal government will pick up a little more of the duration of those benefits. But we will be left next year at the end of the year with a program that is still the worst in the country, that has the shortest duration and pays likely the least amount of money. We did make some changes. One change that involves the calculation of benefits from the last 2 quarters to the highest quarter in the experience period. So that will help people immediately. That change will only be in effect for this year. So we've got to get control of the legislature to change that moving forward. The change, though, from $350 max to $400 max per week is a change that's permanent. That's a great change. We wanted $550 a week as the max, but $400 is an improvement. So you take what you can get, at least on that. So that will be helpful. It will essentially represent an inflation adjustment from when the changes were made in 2013. But it is something that will help some people.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. We have a program. It needs a lot more work, and the federal government has stepped in a big way. But that support from the federal government will be gone by the end of the year.
Now, Senator Chaudhary mentioned, he's talked about bridge loan assistance. I mean, small businesses getting devastated. I mean, 55% of our revenue is commercial revenue. I'm getting tweets right now from Morrisville citizens that are saying, Steve, what can we do? So some cities are helping out: Raleigh, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay. So I'm working on developing some programs for us with our council. But the working capital. So, with so many businesses going out of business, is that also something in another session you all might look at, or that's part of the small business system from this package?
Yeah. What we've done with this first round is really just that. It's just the first round. We will be back in a few weeks with another package to help folks.
Okay.
And there should be probably another one after that. We still have to pass a budget. We're the only state in the country that hasn't passed a full budget for this current fiscal year. So we've got to go in there and do that. There's a lot of work ahead, but if we handle this the right way, we'll be able to help a lot of people. And for me, what that means is major investments in public education for our state,
right,
and in affordable healthcare. So that's a Medicaid expansion, and that's giving our teachers the respect they deserve, and all of our other frontline workers who are working so hard to keep everybody safe.
Okay, fantastic. And the great news is we have with us the esteemed legislator, Gail Adcock, is on by phone. So we want to thank her for her excellent service to Morrisville and the region. She's a great person, great friend of mine, mentor, and does an outstanding job representing us. So we're lucky that we have such a smart woman and leader in the House. She also has a lot of experience in healthcare. So we're going to be bringing her back because she's also a nurse practitioner. So Representative, thank you for being with us. So that's great about the business assistance. A couple more questions. So tell me, so one concern, so Wake County stay-at-home order expires today. The town of Morrisville, so they've amended their order to comply with the governor's order, which is basically easing restrictions slowly. Once, we've aligned that in Morrisville, other cities, and once that's lifted, the economy will shift back into a new normal, sort of a three-phase approach. At the same time, you have people protesting, let's open up right now. So how do you see that working in terms of the data we're getting from Secretary Cohen? We are seeing the curve flattening, but still more cases every day, right? So do you think that we need to just sort of continue on this path? And when do you see us getting back to the point where we can go to a movie or we can go to dinner, or do you not have an answer to that? That's what I think a lot of people are getting concerned about.
This is a tough issue, but I have to give credit to Governor Cooper. He's doing a fantastic job, managing the ship that is North Carolina. These are not easy decisions, but he is listening to medical health experts, who know what they're doing and are making decisions to keep everybody safe. That's the main goal, is we need to keep everybody safe in North Carolina. Staying home saves lives, but that folks shouldn't think about this as an on and off switch. This is a dimmer switch, and he's outlined a 3-phase plan starting early May, then another place towards the end of May, and then possibly end of June or early July, where if the metrics are where they need to be, if the experts are looking at things and seeing that we're in a good spot, we'll advance to the next phase. So for folks it will be a gradual change, but we will get there. And so far we're doing well. We are as a state, we're in a good place. And because people, especially people in Wake County, are following the governor's executive order, they are staying home, they're saving lives, and they're flattening the curve.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, I think just be patient. We are going to get back to a new normal. A couple more questions before we open it up for interactions with the
and excited to hear that Gail is there as a nurse practitioner. She is somebody that really knows what she's doing and a huge asset.
She's been working a lot, on the front lines of healthcare, along with managing the job of a legislator. So I know they're going to be meeting on Friday. So let me ask you a high-level question about education. So one problem we often get asked about in Morrisville is, schools are overcrowded. We just built Parkside Elementary. We've got, we've got talk about maybe an early career high school with Wake Tech. I'm going to be bringing on Scott Rawls in a couple of weeks to talk with us about that. But what do you think? I mean, do we need to, what would you like to do for teacher pay in the center? What would you like to do with education in terms of public education?
A lot of the stress on the public education system is being borne on the county level. And that's not the way our system is designed to work in North Carolina. We shouldn't have to pay higher taxes to have, to give our schools the resources they need. This is a state issue, and the state of North Carolina has failed our students and our teachers and our parents. We right now are not making those needed investments in public education. So what I'm talking about is paying our teachers, giving them the respect they deserve, and so that the counties don't have to pick up this huge burden. We have plenty of money to invest in public education, and the Republicans in the legislature have made the decision not to do that. If you are a teacher, just about most other state employees have gotten a raise for this current fiscal year, starting all the way back in July. If you're a teacher, you haven't gotten a single cent of a raise that you're supposed to have gotten on July 1st. So we need to go in and do that and make those investments. So we're talking also about a statewide school construction bond. That's something that is a huge priority to get those funds. The Republican proposal is this SCIF that takes money out of the budget, so there's less money for other things, and there's no accountability in where the money goes. You look at a bond initiative, and you know exactly how much money each county will get, and it's not up to Phil Berger to decide. So a bond is a much better way to go, and it does much better for Wake County. But we need to get those dollars in education to improve our schools, and invest in teacher pay. And the things that I like to talk about, are a nurse in every school right now, and especially in Wake County. You go to your kid's school and you're going to see, a nurse that goes to 2 schools, 3 schools. I've toured 23 public schools so far. I haven't met a single nurse. And that's a COVID-19 response too. We should have a nurse in every school. So there's a whole bunch that we need to do for public education. And
I had one. We have about 5 more minutes before we open it up for questions. I had another question. We're going to talk about economic development, but I want to follow up on real quickly. We call it Steve Rowe rapid fire on the radio. When you bring a legislator on, it's hard. Gun control seems like the other day you and I were at Green Hope just a few years ago, where we both spoke at the March for Our Lives rally over there. My daughter Sonia, who's now at UNC freshman, was there. Actually, she's soon to be a UNC sophomore. But what are your thoughts? I mean, that's an issue where you think we need to do something with gun laws in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I mean that unfortunately is just one of these issues that has taken a seat on the back burner, and it shouldn't. It's an important issue for me. I'm proud to be supported by Moms Demand Action. Gun control, gun safety is not a partisan issue. The majority of the state supports changes like red flag laws, a ban on assault weapons. There are so many things we can do to, improve the safety of our community, and so that kids like Sonia don't have to be afraid of getting killed when they go to school. And we can do that as a state. We can have background checks. We can do these things. We just need the political will to do it. And the problem is the Republican Party is so controlled by the NRA. Most Republicans, they're not fervent gun nuts. They support these, common sense measures like red flag laws and background checks.
Yeah, it's just
it's just this minority that controls things. I think Democrats need to say, we support people who go hunting. That's fine.
Couple more
you can
questions.
have a pistol.
We're going to go a little bit over a normal time of 30 minutes. I think I've been told by the station we have at least 45. Okay, well, that's great about guns. Let's talk quickly about a couple more questions. Transportation. So we're seeing a lot of disruption in transportation. Right now, the DOT revenue is down by $300 million. Our new DOT Secretary, Eric Boyette, who was the Secretary of Technology, has his hands full. I went to the DOT summit this fall. There was a lot of talk about drones, autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, but the challenge is creating those revenue streams so that, and you talk about an issue that hits Morrisville home, it's our transportation. We did receive about $300+ million for our state road projects, but it's so critical that other municipalities like Morrisville Cary are getting these DOTs. So projects are getting pushed back now. I mean, this is inevitable that our projects are going to get pushed back. So what do you think as a state senator, what can we be doing to be working across the aisle to figure out how do we alter our revenue to keep DOT funded?
Well, and that's a great question
levels.
Because the bill that we passed in the Senate included $300 million for DOT. So that helps. But the issue really is much, much bigger than that. We need about another $1 billion a year for DOT on top of what we're doing now. And they are being battered by the coronavirus and the constant 500 and 1,000 year weather events caused by climate change that keep hammering them. They're not expecting these giant storms. It's not part of their projections because they're not supposed to happen as much as they do, but they do. So, and part of it too is fuel efficiency, cars, and the gas tax that funds our roads. We have cars that every single year get more and more fuel efficient. So that means less revenue, less money for roads. Where we need to be and what is slowly happening is there will be, from what I understand from the folks in the transportation industry, a statewide discussion with stakeholders in the next long session of the legislature. So we're talking about January, February of next year. But my position is we need to go out and get another $1 billion a year on top of what we get to DOT so that we have plenty of money to keep our state moving.
Now, as a follow-up to that, just a few more questions. Broadband. So, I'm in the tech industry as well, but, one concern is the broadband. So we got that last mile, hundreds of thousands in North Carolina that just don't have the broadband. And here we are. If I don't have Wi-Fi right now at good speeds, I'm using Google Fiber, I couldn't do this. I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't do my job. We're so dependent on this thing called the internet and Wi-Fi connectivity. So what do we need to do to increase the broadband funding? I know that you guys have talked about it, but and DIT under Tracy Dokes has some broadband led by Jeff Searles, but still, it's just not enough.
No, rural broadband especially is a huge issue, and it was part of the budget that the coronavirus relief package. There is a decent amount of money for rural broadband, so it's an issue that we are addressing, not nearly fast enough, but we need to make sure the rural parts of North Carolina have the ability to get access to the internet.
Okay, that's fantastic. And then the final question, elections. What do you think about elections? What do we need to be doing? And also let's tie that into gerrymandering. And then I have one last comment someone wanted me to give you, but from the tech industry. But elections, we're looking, Attorney General Stein said we could be looking at 40% absentee ballot, maybe less. What needs to happen in our laws to ensure a fair election?
Yeah, I mean,
Free and fair
listen,
election.
we got to make sure that nobody has to choose between their safety and voting. You know, we need to make voting safe for North Carolinians. And what that means is a lot of big changes. It means, for me, it means 30 days of early voting. It means mailing every single voter in the state an absentee ballot. We can do those things. We just need the political will to do it. So this will be an ongoing issue to do things to make it easier to vote. My Republican colleagues don't like to make it easy to vote. They do better when nobody votes. They don't want you to vote. So they put in roadblocks like voter ID and a number of other things to make it harder. So it's going to be a real fight and a real debate about making it easier to vote. I've got a number of provisions and bills, that I'm planning to file on it. We should make Election Day a state holiday. That's a no-brainer. There's a lot we can do. So that's important. And I hope my Republican colleagues will put the whole gerrymandering issue to bed. We can have a statewide ballot initiative to have an independent, nonpartisan commission. We can put that on the ballot for the voters. And if we do, it'll pass. And we won't have to worry about politicians drawing districts for themselves. So that's my hope. That's an ongoing issue, and we need to.
And folks, if you're listening, we're going to try in an open format. And I'm sorry, this is like an interview format, but the nice thing about these town halls I'm doing is we're also working in a partnership with Radio Merchie where we can record these. Today we're not live, but this will also be put on the radio for all of the Triangle region. But one question, I'll just leave you with the comment, and I just want to give this to you. This is coming from two leaders in the tech industry who wanted you to know, as our state senator, that represents a highly innovative region where we have, within your district, we have Lenovo, we have Cisco, we have Red Hat, we have Oracle, we have Microsoft, we have the NC Riot, the Internet of Things. And I'm doing a lot of stuff in Morrisville on smart cities and things like that. But what they wanted me to tell you as a policymaker is that Estonia, a small country, has outperformed us in terms of just using artificial intelligence and machine learning and innovation as a way to get better resources in the hands of the right people. And technology is a big part of that. And recently, Richard Boyd, who I had on a town hall, talked about how he's developed an AI brain. It's called a COVID brain that can actually take data and analytics and science to make better predictions. And even Governor Newsom in California has been using this AI technology called Blue Dot, where they can map it. So, in terms of like even to the cell phone or the GIS. So they just wanted me to clarify that we also, I think, want entrepreneurs to know that, somehow the legislature needs to figure out a way to enable these kinds of technologies to come into the hands of the state so that we can also have them be a part of this pandemic team in addition to healthcare. And it's just a thought that they wanted me to share with you while we had you here. So we'll send you an email on that.
Thank you. Please tell them, that's a tough issue to figure out, and please tell them to stay in touch with me. I think that the most important thing, just for folks listening, that you can do anywhere in the country or any state is you look at places where you have a good economy and where folks are doing well, and you look on the map and you look at where schools are, and that's the economic driver for us. It's NC State, it's Duke, it's UNC, it's Wake Forest. It's all these schools throughout the state that provide smart, highly educated workforce for these industries. And for me as a policymaker, the number one thing I know I can do to help is to make sure we continue to support really great post-secondary education, because that's what makes our whole economy work so well and gives them the workforce that they need to make these great innovations.
Yeah, and also creating new jobs and new economies. So, these areas like Infosys, when Senator Chaudhary had helped bring them in with commerce, they're creating a lot of new jobs in AI and machine learning. So as we automate, that's also, and the community college, we didn't talk about that, but they're an important part of it. Well, we want to thank you for your time. We're going to open it up for some questions. If you have any questions, please chime in on the chat and ask your question if you have one for the senator. And if not, you can email us and we'll get them to him. And this is going to air again on Radio Merchie on 4:00 p.m. on Sunday, and maybe a couple of times over the weekend. Do we have any questions from anybody, or do you have any parting remarks you would like to make? Let's see if we have any questions. And I know I probably forgot something, but that was a hard interview. There was a lot to get in there.
We got a lot, and it's pretty dense stuff. So I hope folks, followed along and follow up with us if you have questions. We work for you. I think just for me, I just need to keep underscoring this over and over. There are, number one, there are resources for folks who need help. 211, call that number for help. nc.gov/COVID-19 is a great online resource. If you need help, those are good places to start. But folks, staying home saves lives. Wear a mask in public. Sneeze into the bend of your elbow. Use hand sanitizer. Maintain social distancing, and do your part to keep our state safe and to keep our friends and our neighbors safe as well. And by staying home, by observing social distancing, you're doing that. And it hasn't been easy, but we are turning the corner, and I know we're going to get through this together.
Great. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions unless people are just wanting to take a listen. And we did have some attendees, so we want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. We want to thank Gail Adcock for listening in, and thank her for her service. And just want to wish everyone to be safe out there. And just a reminder, tomorrow I have a startup summit I'm hosting. It's sold out, and that's a virtual startup summit. Very excited about that. And the good news for you runners out there, I forgot to put it in my newsletter, so I'm going to have to do it tomorrow or Monday, but Shiloh Greenway is now open, so we can run on the Greenway again. It was closed for a long time, so we're looking forward to that. And Senator, thank you so much for your time. How do people get a hold of you if they need you?
Contact us at our Senate office. ncledge.net is the main portal for that. And, there's our number is there, and my email is wiley.nickel@ncledge.net. So, good ways to get me there. But if you need help, that's what we're here for.
Well, Senator, thank you. You be safe. Good luck in the rest of the session. We want to thank you and your colleagues for your service and in the Senate and the House, and look forward to getting that relief package passed, signed by the governor. And hopefully it's just the first step of a multi-phase process to get our state back. And for those of you in Morrisville, Carrie, thank you for giving me a chance to serve. And want to thank Radio Murchie as well for allowing us to record these and put them on the radio. So our next town hall meeting will be David Gardner. We're doing office hours next week. And then we're working on setting up a few more with Representative Adcock and other leaders in our community. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. It's actually nice outside, so I'm going to try to get some fresh air.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.